Talk about this project and how it came about, and was it easy?
No. Phantasm 5 started out as we were going to basically do a little webisode. We got together with Dave Hartman, with Don Coscarelli, Reggie and I. We had some lunch, we had a little ganache, a little talk, and what do you know, we came up with a little idea, and it started out with the working title of Reggie Tales. It grew from there. The next thing you know, Dave Hartman had to go away and do a little thing called Transformers Optimus Prime for Hasbro. So he came back and he went, okay, you know, Don goes, well, you know, we have a little bit more than just a webisode. And David goes, well, what are we going to do with this thing? He goes, well, we're going to make a feature film and you're going to direct. And Dave goes, oh, okay. So that's basically what we did. And they go, well, Gigi, you got some locations? Well, actually I do. And so we live up in Crestline, California, in the San Bernardino Mountains. We have a cabin in the interiors. Unfortunately, up here in this film, I at the time didn't realize it was going to be large and in charge, but it's great. It's all over the film, and then we needed an exterior for that cabin, and so a friend of mine that we shoot at quite a bit has a ranch up there. We used his exteriors, our interiors, and then he needed a barn, so we built a barn, and so we also needed desert locations. We got him desert locations. So it's basically, that's the beauty of independent filmmaking. You need, and you have a need, you fulfill the need, you come together as a team, and that's why we're such a good family. Is we come together, we see what the need is, and you just fill that hole. And that's really what I'm really good at. It's just fill holes.
And for our fans who don't know who you are, I'm going to get you to slate your name. Yeah. Tell us about how you came aboard and how everything goes.
Well, the way this all happened, or the way we got here today.
Reggie Bannister.
Reggie Bannister is here, right, with me, inside, actually. No, but the way we got to this point was, I knew Don years and years ago. I was at Long Beach City College. I was in the theater arts program. And Don came and saw me in a play, and he liked, my acting. And it happened to be some one-act plays. And so I was in, there was maybe 4 of them, and I was in 3 of them or something like that. I may have been in 4 of them. I think I played a corpse in one of them. And we had a great casket for me. So and open, obviously. And anyway, he saw me there, and he had his producer friend at the time give me a call and say, hey, well, we're going to shoot this movie, and Don Coscarelli saw you in this thing. He likes you, and we've got a part for you, blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, what are you guys shooting in? Like what medium? And we were shooting, at City College, you were shooting on Super 8 back then, if you were lucky. Or 16 if you were really lucky, 16 millimeter. He goes, we're shooting in 35. I went, well, where do you want me to go? Basically, where, when are we going to do this? He goes, well, next weekend, and we'll send a car to pick you up. I went, I'm down. I mean, we're going to pay you too. I went, really? And he goes, yeah. And it was like SAG wages at the time. I wasn't in Screen Actors Guild, but because of that film and another film that I did with Don, I was able to get into the Screen Actors Guild, and like that. So.
Independent film is not easy to do, and I champion the independent film because it's not easy to do.
Right.
Talk about problems and success doing this film.
I think that they are the same. because that's what the challenges are. For instance, we were shooting out in the desert at one point in a remote. We needed the remote scenes for the roads, for the CUDA stunts. And so we had it all lined up. We go to show up on location early one morning, and all of a sudden, lo and behold, a large film operation had jumped our claim, if you will, and we had to punt. And I just happened to have shot a prior film a couple of times, actually. I shot in a location about 45 minutes from there. And it was also very remote. Very few people know about it, and I'm not going to tell you where it is. And and so we went. I said, "Well, I don't know if you want to do this, but here's where it is." We looked it up. I showed him the location, and he was. I said I showed him the pictures from the film that we had shot, and he was like, "Wow, this is perfect. Let's do this." And so 45 minutes later, actually about an hour later, because we had to reboot. But hey, we were there, we were shooting, we were, all over it. And so those are the kinds of things that we face every day on an independent film. That was just one moment of one day out of 8 years. The other thing was the schedules for everyone. You had Don Coscarelli was called away to do John Dies at the End. We were supposed to do a special effect, the opening special effect for the whole film, and it had snowed very badly up in the mountains where we were at, and as we're at 4,700 feet, they're at 8,900 feet in Big Bear. The main highway, Highway 18, had frozen over to the part where we couldn't get up there. And our hub broke on our spike spiders, and so the sheriff literally, and there was a big accident. So we were stuck on the freeway for 2 hours. Then when our hub broke, the sheriff literally, or the CHP literally shut down the freeway so that we could turn around and go back to Crestline. And so we didn't, as a result, we were not involved in John Dies at the End. And so we stopped production of Phantasm 5 in order to do John Dies at the End. Then we resumed. And then there was a point in which David had to go away and do some work on the Transformers, and then he had another project that he had to do, and then there was times where Michael was not available, I believe, and so there were some real scheduling issues. There was, I think, one time where Bill had a really major, because he's a music instructor for a school. And there was a huge concert tour that they were doing. So there's, a schedule, and then Kat is a beautiful musician and she tours. So there were scheduling issues. So, things happen, and that's the kind of challenges of independent filmmaking, but that's what you do. You just, and then there's the budget. Everyone thinks that an independent film is $2 million. Give me 2 million, give me 1 million, baby. Let me show you what I can do.
Talk about your favorite film, favorite scene in the movie, and why.
Your favorite Phantasm film?
Yeah.
I don't know if I have a favorite, to be honest with you, because it's such an ongoing, it's a story that goes on, and so it picks up where it left off, and I'm always really eager to finish out the next episode. It's more episodic than anything, and only it's lasted over 30 years or something, and so it would be hard to say, but because there was aspects of every shoot for every one of the films that I really enjoyed. When we did the Universal stuff, that was really a lot of fun because there was a lot of money flowing. And so we didn't have to worry about things like locations and stuff like that. We had a big giant warehouse that we were building sets in and stuff like that, mausoleum sets, and and all kinds of stuff, you know, and so we wouldn't have to go anywhere. Just occasionally we would there would be a location thing that we'd go to, but when you've got studio money, that's really pretty nice.
What would you say to get the audience to come and see this movie?
If you have not seen any of the Phantasms and you needed to see one Phantasm, this would be the one, because it brings you full circle. It takes you backwards, it explains quite a bit of the backstory, and then it brings you full circle again. This is a psychological horror to beat all psychological horrors.